Okay, so hello everyone. Welcome to Anuj Jindal. Welcome to RBI 247 sessions. Welcome everyone. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Aditya. Good evening, Anushka. Good evening. Good evening, Ishwari. Good evening, Afsana. Good evening, Shivam. Tell me, is everything is fine with the audio and the video of the session so that we can start with the session? Okay. Good evening, Suresh. Okay, okay. Let's start with the session. Okay. So today we are going to cover again four news that we have currently. Okay, let's have a discussion on that one by one. So we have these four news today. Two news are related to the RBI, one news is related to SEBI, and one news is related to IRDAI. So basically the first news is related to the norms and the rules that are related to the gilt account holder. We're going to read what is gilt account holder and how the rules have been changed, or we can say amended, by the RBI. Then we have one more amendment that has been made by the RBI again to Basel III investment regulations for AIFIs. AIFIs is All India Financial Institutions. Okay. So इसके रिगार्डिंग कुछ अमेंडमेंट्स हुए हैं, इनके इन्वेस्टमेंट्स के रिगार्डिंग कुछ अमेंडमेंट्स हुए हैं. वी विल सी व्हाट आर द अमेंडमेंट्स. देन सेबी ने कुछ प्रपोज किया है रिलेटेड टू ESG रेटिंग प्रोवाइडर्स. हमें पता है ESG रेटिंग प्रोवाइडर्स कौन होते हैं, द वन हु गिव्स द रेटिंग, एंड इनके लिए कुछ नॉर्म्स प्रपोज करे हैं. राइट, अभी प्रपोजल स्टेज में है बट स्टिल दे आर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. सो दैट इज द रीजन वी आर गोइंग टू कवर इट in our today's session. Then lastly we have one news related to IRDAI. Okay, and they have made some changes to the premiums that are being paid by the senior citizens. So we will see what is the news, how they are, why they have capped such hikes in the premiums, and how it's going to impact the insurers as well. So let's have a discussion on them one by one. So RBI eases the trading rules. The trading rules for the gilt account holder. So we have one key terminology here, which is gilt account holder. Now what is gilt account holder? Right? We all know what is NDSOM. We all know what is NDSOM. It is a platform operated by whom? Operated by RBI. For what? In order to trade government securities. Right? Now there are some eligibility criteria like who all can participate in such platform. Right? And there are few candidates, or we can say the participant who can participate in such, like banks who are authorized by the RBI, some financial institutions, some insurance companies, mutual fund companies, and insurance companies, right? So all these have to, adhere to the stricter regulations of the RBI in order to participate on such प्लेटफॉर्म. अभी हमने इसके रिगार्डिंग एक न्यूज भी कवर करी थी इन अवर रीसेंट सेशन. आप मुझे बताइए कि वन मोर पार्टिसिपेंट हैज बीन एडेड इन द NDSOM. कौन बताएगा दैट हु हैज बीन एडेड रिसेंटली? Who has been added in the NDSOM to participate? हमने अभी recently डिस्कस किया था in our previous sessions. Yes. So non-brokers, the non-brokers now can participate in such NDSOM platform. They should be registered with the SEBI. ठीक है? These can participate in the platform. अब ऐसा नहीं है कि हर कोई can participate in this NDSOM. Only few can participate in that. And what about those who do not or who cannot participate in NDSOM but want to buy government securities through these platforms? So what they do, they open an account, or they deal with the banks and the financial institutions. Okay, through them they used to buy these government securities. Okay, so there is one primary dealer, or we can say primary member, who is going to help such people, or we can say such participant who cannot participate in the NDS-OM. Okay, now we call them as gilt account holder because they cannot directly participate in the NDS-OM. Hence, they are holding a gilt account with the primary member in order to buy what? In order to buy government securities from this platform. Okay. So I hope we are clear with the gilt account holder. What do we mean by this? And we also know what is primary member here. Primary member can be any entity here. It can be a NBFC, it can be a financial institution, it can be a bank, it can be insurance company, or it can be a mutual fund company as well. So basically what RBI has done, RBI has changed the norms related to these gilt account holders in order to trade in the government securities with their primary dealers. And how they have changed, or we can say issued such amendment, they have issued such amendment through this section, that is section 45W of RBI Act 1934. Or you have to remember it. Okay, so I hope we are clear with the two key terminologies here, that is gilt account holder. We can also call it as GAH and primary members. This is banks. We can consider them as banks. Okay, now what is the background, how they were traded before? ठीक है, तो basically what they have done, they have made some amendments. How they used to deal with the primary members. Okay, तो कैसे होता था background में, that in case this gilt account holder want to buy some goods or want to buy some securities from this platform, they used to tell this primary member to conduct such transaction on their behalf, right? And they used to trade on behalf of them. Suppose there are 2 or 3 gilt account holder. Suppose there is one gilt account holder named as HDFC Mutual Fund, and there is one more gilt account holder which is named as Tata AIG. Now their both primary members are SBI. In this case, they both deal with SBI. Their both primary member is same. Now suppose they both want to trade with themselves. Okay, they want to exchange the government security within themselves. Suppose HDFC mutual funds want to buy government securities from Tata AIG of 10 crores. Right? Now how they used to happen? Primary member here used to conduct this transaction privately. That means this transaction is not within the eyes of NDS-OM. NDS-OM do not know this fact that this transaction has been happening privately. Okay. Now, in order to have some transparency in the operation that are being conducted here, they are saying that now such kind of transactions wherein two gilt account holders or one gilt account holders is privately transacting some government securities. Okay, so now they will do such thing in NDS-OM. तो बेसिकली अगर यहाँ पर 2 से ज़्यादा गिल्ट अकाउंट होल्डर्स हैं विद द प्राइमरी मेंबर्स और वो ट्रेड करना चाहते हैं आपस में गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटीज में, तो दे यूज टू परफॉर्म, दे यूज टू डू सो प्राइवेटली. ठीक है, एक अग्रीमेंट साइन करते थे दैट वी विल एक्सचेंज सच गुड्स, वी विल एक्सचेंज सच सिक्योरिटी विद सच अमाउंट, एंड दिस वाज द केस अर्लियर. ठीक है, एंड दीज ट्रेड्स वर नॉट सेटल्ड और वी कैन से क्लियर्ड थ्रू CCIL. अब CCIL क्या है यहाँ पर? क्लियरिंग कॉर्पोरेशन, जो सेटल करता है ट्रांजैक्शंस को. ठीक है, और वो क्या प्रोवाइड करवाता है? वो आपको रिस्क मैनेजमेंट भी प्रोवाइड करवाता है. इन केस द अदर पार्टी डिफॉल्ट, दे विल टेक केयर ऑफ दैट डिफॉल्ट. ओके, दे आर गोइंग टू मैनेज दैट रिस्क ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ द पार्टीज. राइट, तो इस केस में यहाँ पर वो भी जो आपको रिस्क मैनेजमेंट है वो भी नहीं था, तो यहाँ पर CCIL जो था वो पार्टिसिपेट नहीं करता था इस तरह की ट्रेड्स में. एंड व्हाट एल्स, the transaction used to happen bilaterally. That means privately होती थी ये transactions outside the system of NDS-OM. NDS OM and later reported to the NDS OM. तो basically ये जितना भी operation हुए हैं, they used to send a manual information to NDS OM. So what used to happen, that there was a cumbersome process of sending such information on a daily basis to NDS OM regarding the transactions. Now, this was a very long process. Was a very cumbersome process. Also, the risk management was not provided here within the operations, and hence some amendments have been made by the RBI regarding the same, that how we are going to deal with such gilt account holders whenever they are transacting within themselves. Okay. So here we are with the key changes. So basically now, even if the gilt account holders are trading between themselves, we are going to allow them to settle such trade on NDS OM. So basically primary dealer will settle these trade on behalf of them in the NDS OM itself. Okay. So along with this, they are also going to allow a CCIL to settle such trade. So basically a risk management factor is being allowed here in order to protect the other party in case of default. What else? If the trade is negotiated privately outside the NDS OM but later reported to the system, it can also cleared and settled through the CCIL. Suppose now they have already executed such trade, the primary member has already executed such trade on behalf of their gilt account holders, and they have done so privately. That means they haven't performed that transaction on the platform. In that case, they can execute such trade, but they have to ensure that whether they have they have an option with them. They have an option. This factor is optional in nature, that they have an option with them that the primary member can settle the transaction with the CCIL. Okay, CCIL के through they can settle such trade. Okay, I hope there is no such doubt. I can take your doubts at the end of the session. Okay. Yes, mutual fund can also be a primary member, ensuring that they have such SGL account with the RBI. क्योंकि जो eligibility criteria है to participate in the NDS OM, कि हर एक participant के पास क्या होना चाहिए, एक SGL account होना चाहिए with the RBI. हमने अपने पिछले सेशंस में भी डिस्कस किया था. SJL क्या होता है? सब्सिडरी जनरल लेजर होता है. ये एक तरह का अकाउंट होता है जो एक पार्टिसिपेंट को खोलना पड़ता है विद द RBI, जहां पर वो अपने सिक्योरिटीज और अपने फंड्स रखते हैं विद द RBI. ठीक है. तो इन ऑर्डर टू ट्रेड इन द NDS OM प्लेटफॉर्म, इस चीज को इंश्योर करने के लिए कि दैट दे हैव इनफ फंड्स टू सेटल द ट्रेड एंड सेटल द सिक्योरिटीज एज वेल. ठीक है. तो यहाँ पर प्राइमरी मेंबर कोई भी हो सकता है, म्यूचुअल फंड हो सकता है, या फिर बैंक हो सकता है, इंश्योरेंस कंपनी भी हो सकती है. राइट. Here we are. The penalty for settlement failure. Now we all know that what is SGL account, right? SGL account is a account wherein we keep the funds and the securities with the RBI. अब हमें चेक बाउंसिंग पता है. चेक बाउंसिंग क्या होता है? चेक बाउंस कब होता है? When the party do not have enough funds in their hand. ठीक है. और वो क्या हो जाता है? चेक सेटल नहीं हो पाता, इसलिए वी कॉल इट एज चेक बाउंसिंग. ऐसे ही यहां पर एक टर्मिनोलॉजी आई है जिसका नाम है SGL बाउंसिंग. अब SGL बाउंसिंग कब होगी? जब प्राइमरी मेंबर के पास, यानी कि इस केस में हमने SBI लिया था एग्जांपल में, अगर SBI के पास इनफ सिक्योरिटीज नहीं है, SBI के पास इनफ फंड्स नहीं है टू सेटल द ट्रेड, इन दैट केस वी विल कॉल it as SGL bouncing. अब यहाँ पर अमेंडमेंट क्या कह रही है? The amendment says that in case of SGL bouncing, the primary member have to pay some penalties to the RBI as per the regulation set by the RBI. Okay, in case there is any kind of SGL bouncing, in case we are settling the case, in case we are settling the transaction, in that case the penalty will apply to such primary member. ठीक है. I hope the amendments are clear to you. In case you have any doubt, keep them with you. We will take them at the end of the session. So what is the advantage of having such amendment? अब क्या होगा इससे? Efficient process. पहले बहुत ही cumbersome process था. The primary members used to give information manually to the NDS OM, right? And this was delaying the information, right? And it was a very cumbersome process for the primary members as well. And hence, with this electronic trading system, wherein everything will be conducted on the platform itself, the process of settling the transaction is being efficient here. Second is transparency. Now it will be a greater transparency. The process has provided a greater transparency. Why? Because the trades are being settled in the NDS OM as itself, and it is going to be very transparent for the platform to know what kind of transactions are being happening in the trade, in the platform. Then there is lower risk of default. As we know that now CCIL will able to settle the trades in such process. In such case, in case there is any kind of default in the transaction, they will provide you the risk management. They will settle the trade on behalf of the other party, right? And this factor has been included in such process, which is going to lower the risk of default as well. Okay. Here we are with the second news, which is RBI's amendment to Basel III investment regulations for AIFIs. So basically this news is related to the AIFIs, which is All India Financial Institutions. We know what is All India Financial Institutions. These are special banks. Okay, these are special banks that provide loans to specialized sectors, or we can say they provide they provide loans to the specialized sectors like export and import. Here we are like Exim Bank. NABARD is for the agriculture, NAPFID is for the infrastructure, NHB is for the housing and finance, SIDBI is for the MSMEs. So basically each AIFIs deal with specific kind of sector. So they try to boost their investment in this particular sector, right? And their agenda is to reduce the gap of credit availability. They provide more and more loan or more and more credit to such sectors in order to reduce the gap of credit unavailability. Okay. Now what this regulation applies to? This applies to all kind of AIFIs. Now who all are the AIFIs? Here are the list of these AIFIs. Okay. Now we will see what are these amendments. So basically what AIFIs do? AIFIs categorize their investment in three categories. They categorize their investment in three categories. First is HTM, that is held to maturity. Held to maturity. Then there is another kind of investment category, which is AFS, that is available for sale. Available for sale. Now there is one more category, which is held for trade. That means held for trade. Now as the name tell you that the AIFI is holding some kind of security with them with different agenda, with different agendas with them. HTM is when the AIFI is keeping the security with them till the maturity, till its maturity date. So that they are not categorizing these funds as for sale or for trading purposes, right? Now there is one more category of investment which is available for sale. That means they are categorizing such securities as that they are available for the sale, that they are planning to sell, or we can say sold such securities in the market. And then they have some kind of securities with them which is there for trading purposes only. That means they are keeping it for a very shorter period of time, for earning short term profits with them. So I hope the category of the investment is clear with you. Okay, now this regulation is particularly related to the HTM, that is this part, this category of investment, that is HTM, that is held to maturity. Okay, now we will see what the amendment, or we can say the regulation, says. So basically there is limit, or we can say the things are capped with certain limits by the RBI. Now here what RBI has done, RBI has removed some kind of securities from such capping. So as per the Basel norms 3, as per the Basel norm 3, AIFIs have to invest, or we can say their investment in HTM is capped at 25%. तो बेसिकली HTM के अंदर वो कितना भी सिक्योरिटीज डाले, वो कितनी होंगी, ज्यादा से ज्यादा 25%, इससे ज्यादा नहीं हो सकती हैं, ठीक है. इट इज कैप्ड एट 25%, ठीक है. अब इसके अंदर कौन कौन सी सिक्योरिटीज आ सकती हैं? गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटीज आ सकती हैं, स्टेट लेवल बॉन्ड्स आ सकते हैं या फिर लोन्स आ सकते हैं, और क्या हो सकते हैं, कॉर्पोरेट बॉन्ड्स आ सकते हैं. तो बेसिकली दे आर कीपिंग इट because this is risk free. These are risk free securities with them. अब यहाँ पर प्रॉब्लम क्या है? Why they have capped such thing at 25%? Because अगर वो ज्यादा से ज्यादा अपने पास गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटीज रखेंगे, हेल्ड टिल मेच्योरिटी तक रखेंगे, तो उनके पास फाइनेंशियल स्टेबिलिटी तो बनी रहेगी, क्योंकि उनके पास एक प्रिडिक्टेबल पीरियड तक क्या आएंगे, रिटर्न्स आएंगे, ठीक है. अब जितने भी बॉन्ड्स होते हैं, जितने भी सिक्योर डिबेंचर्स होते हैं, इनके ऊपर जो आपको जितने भी रिटर्न मिलते हैं वो एक तो फिक्स्ड होते हैं रिटर्न, और इनका रिस्क भी बहुत कम होता है बिकॉज दे आर बैक्ड बाय द गवर्नमेंट. अब नाउ दिस HTM इज वेरी गुड फॉर द ऑल इंडिया फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशंस, ठीक है, क्योंकि एक तो इनके जो रिटर्न होते हैं बहुत प्रिडिक्टेबल होते हैं, और टिल मेच्योरिटी तक वो रख सकते हैं अपने पास, क्योंकि इनमें कोई लॉस नहीं है, राइट. एंड दैट इज द रीजन दैट that it is capped at 25%. क्यों? क्योंकि अगर ज्यादा से ज्यादा ऐसी मेच्योरिटी वाले इनके पास सिक्योरिटीज होंगे, तो इससे क्या होगा कि ट्रेड ही नहीं होगी सेकेंडरी मार्केट में. मान लीजिए कि इसकी जो कैप है ये 100% तक कर देते, ठीक है, ज्यादा से ज्यादा, क्योंकि इट इज गुड फॉर द AIFI. तो इसको कैप क्यों किया गया है 25% पे, 100% क्यों नहीं कर देते? तो इस केस में ये हो सकता है कि अगर वो ज्यादा से ज्यादा सिक्योरिटीज और गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटीज अपने पास रखेंगे, तो सेकेंडरी मार्केट में कोई जो खरीदना चाहते हैं वो खरीद ही नहीं पाएंगे, क्योंकि ये सेल ही नहीं करेंगे. यहाँ पर सप्लाई और डिमांड का इशू हो जाएगा. इसीलिए AIFIs को यहाँ पर कैप किया गया है विद द HTM विद 25% ऑफ कैप. मतलब कि आप अपने पूरी इन्वेस्टमेंट का सिर्फ 25% कहाँ लगा सकते हैं, HTM में लगा सकते हैं. अब RBI ने क्या निकाली है, रेगुलेशंस निकाली हैं. दे आर सेइंग कि इस 25% के कैप में से यू कैन टेक दीज सिक्योरिटीज. व्हाट सिक्योरिटीज? लॉन्ग टर्म बॉन्ड्स एंड डिबेंचर्स मिनिमम ऑफ 3 years ऑफ मेच्योरिटीज एज फ्रॉम नॉन फाइनेंशियल कंपनीज विल नॉट बी काउंटेड इन 25% ऑफ HTM. दैट मीन्स दैट there is one kind of security that AIFIs cannot count them in this 25% of limit. Now what is that security? This is long term bond and debentures which have maturity period of 3 or more years and is issued by a non-financial company. Such kind of security AIFIs cannot, or we can say now they do not have to count such security in their 25% of capping. So they are giving flexibility to the AIFIs that they have more room for buying more government securities. Suppose there were 100 crore of investment made in HTM, and we can say 40 crore of the portion was related to this portion. Now there is no eligibility criteria, or we can say there is no requirement of keeping them as a count of HTM. So this space is blank now for the AIFIs. Now they can invest more in the government securities, which is a risk-free securities, and which is giving more room to the AIFIs to invest in risk-free securities. So this is a amendment that have been changed by the RBI in order to provide more flexibility, more investment opportunity to the AIFIs. Okay, now this rule will be applicable from April 1, 2025. Okay, Now, what is the benefit of such regulation? It is going to provide flexibility in the long-term financing, right? They can invest in government security for a longer period of time that will provide them financial stability. And they can also invest in their own type of sector. That means if we are talking about NABFID, it can invest in infrastructure projects, right? If we are talking about EXIM, it can invest in exporters and importers, right? And this is how they can categorize their investment as well. So this is how they have provided the flexibility to the AIFIs. Now here we are with the third news, which says SEBI proposes some guidelines for the ESG rating providers. We know what is ESG. ESG is environmental social governance rating providers. Now this rating providers provide rating to the companies based on these three factors, that is environment, social and governance. Based on these three factors, they provide rating to such companies, how they are performing based on these three factors, ESG, environmentally, socially and governance basis पर. ठीक है, तो अभी रीसेंट चेंजेस प्रपोजल से पहले मैं आपको एक रीसेंट चेंज बता देती हूँ कि ईएसजी रेटिंग प्रोवाइडर्स के लिए एक रूल निकाला गया था बाय द सेबी लास्ट ईयर, विच सेज दैट ईएसजी रेटिंग प्रोवाइडर हैज टू ऑब्टेन अ लाइसेंस और we can say register themselves with SEBI in order to operate in India. We know we have various kind of international rating providers, right? Like CRISIL, S&P and so on and so forth. So SEBI has made them mandatory for them to register themselves with the SEBI and with the SEBI and obtain some kind of license for operating in India. This was the latest, or the recent we can say amendment or change that has happened in the field of ESG rating providers. Now the SEBI has proposed one more, we can say few more guidelines in the same field. We are going to read what are these guidelines and how they are going to impact, or we can say how it is beneficial for the investors as well and for the ESG rating provider as well. So we will see what is the proposed changes. So basically ruling for the withdrawing ESG rating. Now what ESG do? ESG provide ratings to the company like A level, A plus, BB, negative, PB. This is how they used to give rating. Now this rating is useful for whom? This is useful for the investors and for the shareholders. Now what has happened that ESG rating can withdraw such rating based on two conditions. ठीक है, अब ये withdraw कर सकते हैं ये ratings. They can withdraw or we can say remove such trading or we can say rating in two cases. ESG ratings can only be removed if no one is subscribing to them. Suppose there is company A which has a rating of say BB negative and there is no subscriber. Now subscriber is the one who is paying money to the ESG rating company to give them information regarding the companies. Right? Now suppose there is no one subscriber for this company. In that case, ESG rating can withdraw such rating from their website. However, if the company is in the major index like Nifty 50, its rating must stay there. Suppose there is a very famous company, suppose a Tata company is there. In that case, the ESG rating cannot withdraw such ratings because it is a very big part of the index. It is a very big company and hence it is very important for the ESG rating company to provide the rating on such companies. If there is a company which is not a very famous company and there is no subscriber for the same, ESG rating can remove such ratings for that companies. Okay. Now what is the second ruling for that? Issuer pay model. That means ESG ratings can be removed after 3 years or half the bond term, but the 75% of the bondholder must agree with such withdrawing of rating. This means that in case, suppose there is a bond that has been issued by company A. Okay. Now the bond maturity is till 5 years. Now the company do not want the rating of this company, rating of such bonds to be published on ESG rating, right? What are the cases in that? What are the we can say criteria in that? In that criteria, the rating of such bond can be removed after 3 years, or after the maturity of this, or half of the maturity of this. That means 2.5 years, within 2.5 years or 3 years, whichever is earlier. That means 2.5 is earlier in this case, and it can be, that means ratings related to this bond can be removed within 2.5 years. Or if 75% of the bond holders agree that such rating should not be provided by the ESG rating, then it can also be withdrawn by the ESG rating. Okay. Now there is one more rules related to the disclosure, how they are going to disclose such rating. The detailed reasoning of the ESG rating will be private for the subscriber. Whosoever subscribe with the ESG rating can access the detailed reasoning behind why they have given such rating to the company. Okay, for this they have to pay. The subscriber have to pay some money to the ESG rating. But ESG rating itself must publicly available on the in the website. That means the simple rating, not the reasons, but the ratings of the each and every company must be provided on the ESG rating. That is simple rating. That is AA plus, BB plus, negative. Such kind of rating must be provided by the ESG rating. But its reasons behind that, why they have given such rating, such detailed reasons must be provided to the subscribers who are paying for such services. Okay, so there is one more, we can say, guideline which is related to the stock exchange display. That means, which says that stock exchange must also display what? The ratings with them of the company. So stock exchange will also give ratings of the company on their website. Subscribers are the one who is paying to the ESG rating providers for giving them information regarding the company, why they have given such rating to them, what is the reason behind giving such ratings, and so on and so forth. And then there is some rules related to governance and the audits. Okay, so SEBI says that internal audit is mandatory for every ESG rating provider. So they have to conduct an internal audit in order to ensure what? In order to ensure governance of their company. Then stricter rules for nomination and remuneration company. Now SEBI says that NRC's committees, for NRC committee, there would be stricter regulations. Stricter regulations would be there for companies which are in category 2. Category 2 is that kind of company which involve bigger ESG rating providers. So basically these are the companies which are very big in nature, and their impact of their failure or impact of their fraud is much more higher than any other ESG rating provider. These changes will apply after 2 years after the implementations. So here we are with the fourth news, which says IRDAI capped the annual premium hike for the senior citizen. So what has happened? IRDAI, which is a regulator of insurance sector, said that the annual premium is the one which the insurance holder pays to insurance company for insurance. They pay some kind of money to them, and such premium keeps on increasing every year. Every year this premium keeps on increasing for the senior citizen. Now we know senior citizen is the one the risk of their health keeps on increasing with increase of their age. Now, whenever they are going to buy a health insurance for them, the premium they pay keeps on rising with their age. With every succeeding year, they have to pay extra premium to the insurance company. Now, this IRDAI says that they have capped such hiking. That means they have limited how much an insurance company can hike, or we can say increase the premiums for the senior citizens. So they have capped such hike to 10%. So IRDAI has capped the annual increase in health insurance premium for senior citizen at 10%. So basically more than 10% they cannot increase their premiums for the senior citizens. So here we are protecting the senior citizens here who are taking their health insurance. So what was the problem earlier? The problem was that some insurance companies were increasing too much of their premiums for the senior citizens, which was unaffordable for the senior citizen to pay. And that is the reason, considering this problem, the premium hike has been capped by the IRDAI at 10%. And this means that more than 10% per year, they cannot increase such premium unless they get a special approval from the regulator. In case they are increasing such premium more than 10%, they have to take a special approval from the regulator, in this case IRDAI, for increasing such premium. And what is the benefit of such change for the senior citizens? This is going to be very predictable. That means senior citizens won't get cheated, or we can say won't get surprised by sudden increase in their premiums, and the changes in their premiums would be predictable for them and would be affordable for them, so that they can manage their finances in a better way, which is a good sign for the citizens. Now the affordability will also be increased because they will be better able to manage their finances with them. So this is a part, or we can say a regulation, wherein they are securing the senior citizen based on their health as well and based on their finances as well. Now what is the challenges for the insurers? Now insurers are the one who get paid, their premiums are the real profit for them, right? Now their premiums are the one which is getting impacted. Now how will they react to such change? There are expectations that higher claim rejections would be there. That means they might not settle the claim in case of any health issues. So they might give some kind of excuses to their senior citizens, or some kind of problem would be there whenever they are going to settle the claims. So there would be more and more rejections by the insurers in such cases. Also, stricter policy for the issuance. The insurance company might not issue more insurance, or we can say health insurance, to the senior citizens. So it would be very difficult for the senior citizens to get a health insurance for them, because there would be a restrictions by the insurance company to give more and more insurance to the senior citizens. And what would be the other impact? That younger policyholders may pay more. Now insurance company used to get high premiums from this senior citizens. Now it has been capped by the IRDAI. Now how will they fill that gap? How will they recover from such losses? For that, insurance companies might take more money from the younger policyholders. Now the prices of the younger policy holders might increase, and they are going to recover all the losses from young holders, which is going to be bad for the health insurance that are being holded by the young people. Okay, here we are with the question session. Let's read the first question, which says, what is with the recent RBI amendment, trades between the gilt account holder and the primary members, or between the two gilt account holders of the same primary members, can now be conducted on dash platform, settled through dash. So what is the right option here? Right. B is the right option. They are going to perform such trades or transaction in NDS-OM through Clearing Corporation of India Limited CCIL. RBI recently revised its prudential regulations under the Basel III framework, permitting AIFIs to exempt specific long-term bond investment from the limit. Now, what is the limit they are asking here? And in the held to maturity category, the RBI amendments apply to the investment in long-term bonds, debentures of non-financial entity with a minimum residual maturity of this years at the time of investment. So they are basically asking about the maturity and about the limit under the HTM. So what is the right limit of HTM and the year for the bond and debentures? Right. C is the right answer here. SEBI has proposed new guidelines to regulate ESG rating providers in India, focusing on rating, withdrawal rules, disclosure norms, and the governance standard. According to these guidelines, which of the following statement is correct regarding the ESG proposed rulings under issuer pays model? So ESG rating can be withdrawn at any time by the company. ESG rating can be withdrawn after 3 years or half of the bond's term, whichever is earlier. ESG rating cannot be withdrawn under the issuer pays model. ESG rating can only be removed if 50% of the bondholders agree. ESG rating remain permanently unless SEBI intervenes. What is the right answer? Yes, third ka B is the right answer because it can be withdrawn after 3 years or half of the bond's term, whichever is the earlier date in that case. IRDAI has recently introduced a cap of annual increase in the health insurance premium for the senior citizen to prevent the excessive hikes according to the new guidelines. What is the capped premiums that are being set by the IRDAI? Right. C is the right answer. 10% is the capped increase in the insurance premium. So in case you have any doubt, tell me in case you have any doubt related to today's session topics. Tell me in case you have any doubt. Aditya, right? You are right with the concept. Companies also pay money to the ESG ratings as well. So that is not the case that only the investors are paying to the ESG rating providers. SGL is the one. SGL is subsidiary general ledger account that has been opened by entities with the RBI in order to keep the securities in that, in order to keep the funds in that. Whatever they have kept in that, the settlement in the NDS-OM is traded, or we can say settled through that account. We are not talking about the primary dealers, we are talking about the primary members here. The primary members are here banks and financial institutions that are eligible to participate in the NDS-OM. Gilt account holder is the one who is opening their account with a bank, any kind of bank, who can participate in the NDS-OM. So basically, the primary member, that is the bank here, is trading on behalf of their gilt account holder. Okay, the one who cannot participate directly in the NDS-OM. Category 2 of ERP is the one which are very big kind of ESG rating providers. Okay, now these are very big companies. If they give any kind of wrong, we can say ratings, or give any kind of wrong information, so that is going to have a bigger impact on the financial system, and that is the reason stricter norms for them will be issued by the SEBI. Okay, So I have taken all your doubts. In case you have any doubt, you can give a comment in the comment sections. So I hope the session was fruitful for you. I hope you have liked the session. Okay, with this we are ending our session. Thank you everyone. Goodbye and prepare well for your exam.